You guys hear that Alec Baldwin's case was dismissed again? Only this time, it wasn't dismissed because of anything that Alec Baldwin did or didn't do. It was dismissed because of what the state didn't do. And that's play by the rules. I'm about to tell you why Alec Baldwin's case was dismissed with prejudice due to the misconduct of the state. Hi, I'm Daniel M. Rosenberg. I'm a criminal defense attorney and the founding partner of Rosenberg, Perry & Associates. And I want to talk to you about the Alec Baldwin case because that case was dismissed not based on the merits, not based on anything that Alec Baldwin did or didn't do, but solely based on the misconduct of the state. So first, let's talk about Alec Baldwin's case, the charges, and what he's facing. Alec Baldwin was on trial for involuntary manslaughter for his role in the death of Helena Hutchins. The allegation against Alec Baldwin was that he was being careless or reckless in that he was pointing a firearm, whether it was loaded or unloaded, on the set and pointing it at actors. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was the armorer on set and was responsible for the safety and security of the weapons and the rounds, and there should not have been any live rounds on set. Live rounds made it onto the set, and the claim was that Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was so careless and so reckless that she was the one who brought it onto the set. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 18 months in state prison. Now, in the Hannah Gutierrez-Reed trial, an individual by the name of Seth Kenney was responsible for providing the weapons and rounds, dummy rounds and blank rounds, to the set. Now, one of Ms. Gutierrez-Reed's defenses was that she never brought any live rounds onto the set, so it must have been the mistake of Seth Kenney. So Seth Kenney is the one that's bringing these live rounds onto the set. Let's fast forward the tape into the Alec Baldwin trial. There was witness testimony that an individual by the name of Troy Teske, a retired police officer, went to the sheriff's department and provided live rounds and indicated that these live rounds came from Seth Kenney's stock. The implication being that Seth Kenney had these live rounds matched the same live rounds that were found on set. As a result, Seth Kenney was the one who brought them onto the set, not Hannah Gutierrez-Reed. What did they do? At that point, the evidence was taken in, photographed, documented, and placed in some separate general file. It wasn't placed in the Rust file. So what does that mean? That means that Alec Baldwin's defense team was never made aware that an individual came forward and provided these rounds. These rounds were placed into evidence and they were never seen or viewed by Alec Baldwin's team. In fact, there was a report that was generated. And the report says, in substance, Troy Teske came forward, said this has to do with the Rust investigation. This is going to help establish that live rounds may have come from Seth Kenney's stock. That report and the rounds were never provided to Alec Baldwin's defense team. In fact, it appears that they found out about this during the trial. So what happens next? The state makes an application to dismiss the case. A dismissal of the case can be with prejudice or without prejudice. With prejudice means you can't bring the case again. Without prejudice means you can. So the defense was looking for a remedy that would prohibit the state from ever bringing these charges against Alec Baldwin again in the future. That is an extremely significant consequence. And this is why the judge granted that request. Once this was disclosed, it came out that they had this additional evidence, that they logged this evidence in, that they generated a police report, but they created a separate case number and it wasn't associated with Rust. Just in case you're not picking up what I'm putting down, that's some dodgy shit. So what happened? When they got caught, the prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, said, yes, this happened, we didn't do anything nefarious, and in fact, I'll testify about it. So the prosecutor elected to testify in her own case. In addition, the other prosecutor who was there resigned. Why did she resign? Well, we've since found out that she found out about this evidence the same time that everyone else found out about this evidence. Orlinda Incampo-Johnson has since come forward and indicated that once she found out about this evidence, she thought the case should be dismissed. But her counterpart, Ms. Morrissey, overruled her. As a result, she resigned from the case. The judge heard all of the evidence and decided that this was a violation of Brady versus Maryland. Brady versus Maryland is a seminal United States Supreme Court case that indicates that prosecutors have an obligation to turn over all evidence, specifically exculpatory evidence that could be of benefit. If you fail to turn that over, that's what's called a Brady violation. That is extremely significant because you are hiding exculpatory evidence, evidence that could be helpful to the defense. So what's the remedy when you hide evidence and fail to disclose? That determination is up to the judge. And the judge in this case went through a legal analysis and determined that the only appropriate remedy was not only a dismissal, but a dismissal with prejudice. This is a sanction against the state because you can't go back and unring that bell. Had the defense known about this information, they could have and would have handled this differently. As a result, this charge was dismissed with prejudice. So, what are the takeaways from all this? Number one, this is our justice system. You may think it's unfair that Alec Baldwin had his case dismissed not because he didn't do anything wrong, but because there was some sort of procedural error. This is how our system works. If you mess up and there's no way to fix it, sometimes the only way they can fix it is to take away the evidence or dismiss the case. Another thing to take away from this is the tremendous amount of power that is bestowed upon prosecutors and the state in prosecuting these cases, and how easily that power can be taken advantage of. The prosecutors in this case made a decision not to turn this information over because they decided it wasn't relevant to the defense. Another thing to take away from this is, this happens more often than you think. In fact, our office had a case dismissed this year for a prosecutor who failed to disclose exculpatory information. If anyone's interested in learning more about that case, I put a link below to the decision issued by the Appellate Division that dismissed that case with prejudice for prosecutorial misconduct. Now, whether or not you feel that Alec Baldwin was criminally responsible or not, we're never going to find out. And that's because of the conduct of several individuals involved in this prosecution. This is the reality of the criminal justice system, and Alec Baldwin remains an innocent man and always will. So if you or someone you know has been charged with a crime in New Jersey, feel free to contact our office. We're happy to help in any way we can. And if you like the content of this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if there's a topic you'd like to learn more about, please contact our office or leave a comment below. I'm happy to hear about it. We are criminal trial lawyers. We have your back. That's what we do.